When you first got involved with CTC and what made this kind of an enticing camp for you to speak at?
Well, it was enticing because the passion that Greg had for reaching young men through football really was motivating in terms of supporting and helping them. So it was an easy choice because you could see how much he believed in reaching kids through football.
For you, I mean, it seems like not just in your own life, but what you're trying to preach is, right, football is a means to maybe a career and towards a life. How important is it to tell the kids now as they approach college?
Yeah, it's important to know that football is a means. It's a way of life. Anybody who's around football understands football requires a lot of work, a lot of time, dedication, hard work, sweat, pain, tears, all of that. But if you're able to do that, then there's really no other challenge in life that you can't manage. You know, in football, you work through hard days, through hot days. Football goes into cold weather. And if you can survive all those things, to me, it's a great sport to teach you that life has those same ups and downs and challenges.
To be able to be out there talking to the kids, I mean, they were enthusiastic, right, to listen to you. What did that mean to you to see a room full of high school students put up their hands to be able to answer, you know, the questions you had?
Yeah, it means the world to me because it gives me an opportunity to pass down the information and knowledge that I've gained over my lifetime. Things that I wish I had been told when I was a kid, I'm able to share with them to hopefully help them on their journey.
And then secondly, as a Rochester guy, right, you mentioned you went to East High School. How important is it for you to want to give back and help kids that were in a similar spot to you?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. This community has been very giving to me and supportive. You know, I had people who gave me opportunities that, you know, I know partly was because I was playing sports that, you know, I'm paying it forward. You know, I'm paying what I owe back to the community. What we have to understand as a community is that sports can play such a key role in giving our young people a good use of time. That's one of those youth development buzzwords, that kids have a good quality use of their time around positive adults. That's what football does. And the thing I like about it, it engages a lot of young people. So I hope and want to encourage our community to support all our youth sport teams, all our high school teams. Go out and watch games. Let kids know that you appreciate that they've decided to use their time wisely. I think sometimes we focus a lot on what's not good, and we have so many positive, good things going on.
I got one more question for you as you were talking about that. We talk about football, it's obviously it means to so much and it's a lifestyle. How important is it for this camp to start in the classroom and then go and play football?
I think it sends a positive message to the young people about the mental and emotional side of everything, of football, of life. So it sets the tone. He starts with this life skill portion, and I think, you know, I appreciate that because when you go out in the field and you just play, then you're not giving a chance for kids to grow emotionally and mentally.
So Greg, we'll start with this, man. How long have you been working with CTC?
15 years. 15 years with changing the community, mentoring, training student athletes to help them get into college on scholarship or a career path into the trades.
What made you want to kind of create this and get involved in the first place?
Me and my friends, we coming up and playing football, but we didn't have the access, right? We didn't have the know-how. And then going to college myself and going the long route, the JUCO route, and then finally getting a scholarship and then being on the team and realizing I got a bunch of friends that's back home that's better than some of these kids that's on my team that's on scholarship. And I'm like, what was the missing link? What was the process? And then knowing the process now from that and what's the requirements and how to gain exposure and what it takes now. A lot of my friends, again, we all Americans, all conference in college, and it's like, okay, no, we were good. We just didn't have the opportunity to showcase that from high school to show how good we was because this was an underexposed area, right? Nobody was coming to Rochester to come recruit talent like that unless you just was super big or, you know, had some crazy stats, but there are a bunch of talent here like you see now. So that's what the goal was, to now bring more exposure to Rochester and get those kids scholarship opportunities.
How has it grown over the years?
It's grown tremendously. I mean, now we have several All-Americans in the program. We have a bunch of kids in the program right now that got scholarships. Usually we'll have like a couple, but now we have over 10, 15 kids with scholarships. We've had a big jamboree that we just had this past year where over 30 plus colleges came to Rochester to watch the kids perform at the camp. At a jamboree at the camp. So the program's definitely been growing. I mean, 30 plus colleges, all between Penn State, Oregon, Syracuse, UMass, Wagner, UB, bunch of schools that that came to Rochester to try to scout and give talent and give out potential scholarship offers.
How important is it for these kids to stay active during the summer?
Very important for them to be active. Again, it keeps them out of trouble. This is a different kind of gang, right? It's a gang of football, camaraderie, kids coming together for a common goal, and it keeps them locked in and focused on what their goal is, and that's to be the best football player they can possibly be.
How cool was it, do you think, for these kids to hear from a former NFL player, Tony?
Oh, man, to hear from Tony Jordan. Granted, a lot of these kids wasn't even thought of, right? Wasn't even born when he was playing the game of football. But to hear from a guy that you can actually visibly touch, that's what it was for me, right? I didn't know he went to the NFL until I got in college. I was like, hold on, you was in the NFL the whole time, and I never knew that you was in the NFL? That should never happen in an area where you have, not chosen but so big, right? It should never be a case where a person goes to the NFL and nobody really knows who that person is. So to give him his flowers and make sure the kids he always loved to give back and make sure the kids can know who he is, to know that it's possible to come from Rochester and actually make it to the highest level, which is in NFL.
Absolutely. I mean, not to get ahead of ourselves, but I know you've been doing it for 15 years. How do you want to see this continue growing over the next 15?
Man, the next 15 years should be considered a hotbed. Rochester should be a place in New York State that's a hotbed. Right now we have 2 kids in the program that's the #1 players in the state. We have the #1 2028. We have the #1 2026. We don't got the #1 2027. We got the #2 2027 in the state. So we're looking to have a #1 player in Rochester in the state for the next 3, 4, 5 years. So, and the goal is to continue to do that over time and be able to now continue to have coaches coming to Rochester and make this a hotbed.
And Greg, you mentioned you played collegiately a little bit. Where can you just remind me where?
Yeah, I played at West Liberty University down in West Virginia, Division II school. Yeah.
And then for you, from a guy who played in college, how important is it to use football to further yourself, not just academically, but career-wise as well?
Oh yeah, football blessed me with the opportunity to be able to do so, right? I didn't think I was going to graduate from college. That was the furthest thing from my mind. But having to play in college football and you got to go just play college football, play 4 years. Well, 4 years you end up graduating. And by the time I was going into my senior year, I'm like, oh shoot, I got 22 more credits to go. I'm graduating. And it finally hit me going into my senior year. I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm about to graduate college. That was the process of going through and playing college football, and then got my degree and was able to use my skills that I learned in college to be able to, give back and be able to learn how to write. I know how to obviously write for programs and doing the things I did for my degree was just in social work. And now able to get back and use those skills that I learned in college. The coolest thing about the program is a lot of the coaches you've seen that was in the video, a lot of the coaches that you see here now, they were in the program when they were young. They went to college, and now they're coming back to give back. So now it's full circle, right? They took advantage of the program to get where they wanted to go, and now that they're done and their playing career is over, they're coming back to give the knowledge of what they learned in college and what they learned through their experiences through playing college football. And now they're giving it back to the youth right now.